Hi, friends. It is your friendly executive cat herder, Marissa Friedman. And I actually am so excited because I get to come to you today from my home and my happy place here in San Diego. So, many of you know that I have really been mixing it up, doing a lot of things that are really uncomfortable for me. And one of those things has been, how do I commit to something on a recurring basis that I feel very passionate about? And that is, I think, for a lot of people, as they're developing their leadership, they're having such a hard time trying to figure out who do you trust? Who do you let into your ecosystem? Who do you let be a part of your personal and professional growth journeys? And so I know that a lot of you, as I look through my notes here, I've just been paying attention to what I've been seeing as themes. And I think what we're seeing, and what I've noticed, and I'm sure many of you have also noticed this, is that when it comes to culture and people, sometimes people are infiltrating organizations that are just toxic. They're people that, and you probably know these personality types, you've seen them, right? They need to be the center of attention. They need to get credit for every single little thing they do. That's not to say that people that aren't adding value in different ways, I mean, let's be clear, you could rightfully so need credit for the work that you've done. But, about 5 years ago, I was working in a project in the Pacific Northwest, and we were working with a business that was in the tech space. And what we found is that there were a couple developers that felt like they needed to own the brand, own the company, they really just felt like they had this control and this chokehold everybody. And what we discovered was that when initially we did an assessment, we saw some extreme potential, right? We saw potential for the group. And what we learned though was that these people were of the mindset that they wanted to win at all costs. And so that's not what we want, right? We don't want to have cultures and spaces where people feel like it's very binary in nature or very defined. So, that being said, I thought I would come on here and share the reason why I decided to start what I've fondly referred to as the Lazy Book Club. And so, the Lazy Book Club came about just I knew that I wanted to create something really cool, and I also want to just give you a couple tips on how you can create your own lazy book club. But I thought that I would share with you exactly why I picked not only the name of this book club, but the name of essentially kind of like where this came about. So, long story short, um, I loved book clubs, but I always hated this pressure of like, oh my gosh, I've got to read all this stuff before we get together, and I've got to overthink my answers to everything. And so every time I joined a book club, it ended up being more stress than it was worth. So I was like, what if we just took back this really kind of simple concept of, do you remember when you were a kid and you did books in class and you did reading out loud and then you'd have a group discussion? So I kind of brought it back to like kindergarten and first grade. So if you have the opportunity to do so, here is the actual Lazy Book Club on Amazon. If you go on there, you're going to see kind of essentially it's like, hey, look, it's like for high performing entrepreneurs that want to kick ass, but maybe don't have a lot of time. And so, what we're doing here is we are allowing anyone to come in, join the club. It's going to tell you what book we're currently reading. And then if you scroll down, you're going to get to see all the different books that we kind of recommend, some of which we're going to do in future book clubs. But again, you'll get to see all of, kind of the books that we're recommending. So if you want to join our book club, feel free to. It was in the links and in the comments below. So there's that. The other cool kind of piece to this is that when you join Lazy Book Club, if you want to join the week to week kind of conversation that we're having, you can do that in our special live stream. So the way that we've set it up is no one is required to read the book ahead of time. You can just show up, and what we'll do is we will kind of essentially give you some opportunities to engage along the way. You can listen in, you can watch it, watch the replay. Um, there are any number of ways that we can do that. So, again, just give us a second. Um, and the reason, again, is so that you don't have to stress out about having to do all kinds of prep around the book club. Again, the book is The No Asshole Rule by Robert Sutton. And so I'm going to give you a little bit of a taste of what that preview kind of looks like. Um, so let me share this with you. So what we'll do each week when you jump on in the evenings, we'll read a section of the book. We'll discuss it. We have prompts and things. But again, the reason why is really specific. So, that being said, welcome to the No Asshole Rule. I am only going to read the introduction for you, which is the page or two. And then what we're going to do together is you guys can comment as you're hearing this, as you're reading this. Now, again, I've put in the link into the comments so you can join that really super fun um, uh, live stream that we're going to be doing on Tuesdays. And I'm also going to throw in our Amazon link, which is here. If you want to join the book club on Amazon, we would love to have you. Just come in, take a look at what we're reading. If there's something that you think is really cool that you think I should be looking at, share that with me. Here's the link there. If you go into the comments of this live stream, it's totally accessible. And here we go. So this is again, this is a little bit of the preview of what's to come. So be terrified or be excited. Introduction. When I encounter a mean spirited person, the first thing I think is, wow, what an asshole. I bet you do too. You might call such people bullies, creeps, jerks, weasels, tormentors, tyrants, serial slammers, despots, or unconstrained egomaniacs. But for me, at least, asshole best encapsulates the fear and loathing that I have for these types of nasty people. I wrote this book because most of us, unfortunately, have to deal with assholes in the workplace at one time or another. The No Asshole Rule shows how these destructive characters damage their fellow human beings and undermine organizational performance. This book shows how to keep these jerks out of your workplace, how to reform those you are stuck with, and how to expel those that can't or won't change their ways, and how to best limit the destruction that these demeaning creeps cause. I first heard of the No Asshole Rule more than 15 years ago during a faculty meeting at Stanford University. Our small department was a remarkably supportive and collegial place to work, especially compared to the petty but relentless nastiness that pervades much of academic life. On that day, our chairman was leading a discussion about who we ought to hire as a new faculty member. One of my colleagues proposed that we hire a renowned researcher from another school. We had a good laugh, but we just said out loud, I don't want any assholes ruining our group. But then we started talking in earnest about how to keep demeaning and arrogant jerks out of our group. How could we keep these people out of our group? From that moment on, when discussing whether to hire a faculty, it was legitimate for us to ask the question. The candidate seems smart, but would this hire violate our no asshole rule? The language in other workplaces but left unspoken. Whatever rule it takes, a workplace that enforces the no asshole rule is where I want to be, not the thousands of organizations that ignore, forgive, or even encourage nastiness. So that is where I'm leaving you. This is the book. If you go on to this, you'll see all the books we recommend. If you want to do the group format with us, we'd love to have you there. It's just going to be super fun to kind of come in, hang out, talk about these things. We'll do a chapter. I'll encourage people to join along, and then we'll have a discussion. And that's it. That is it. So I hope all of you have a beautiful day. Enjoy the rest of your Monday. And I'm Marissa Friedman. See you later.